In this video, we're going to be learning structures of the cerebrum. Now, notice I've set out several different brain models, and that's because some structures are easier to see on certain models. We're going to start by talking about the layers of the cerebrum. And in order to do that, we're going to look at this model here. If I flip this model over, I can see the two layers of the cerebrum. Notice that I have this thin outer layer of gray matter. This is called the cerebral cortex. So the cerebral cortex is where we find dendrites, cell bodies, unmyelinated axons, glial cells, all that jazz. This is also where the synapses are formed. So all of your thoughts, emotions, memories, decisions, ability to control your body, your ability to perceive and process sensory information, that's all this thin little layer on the outside of your brain. The inner part of the cerebrum is known as the cerebral white matter. This is made up of myelinated axons, and it's just sending information. The next structure we're going to mention is the central sulcus. Sulcus is a Latin word that means groove. And in order to see it, we're going to look at our color brain model. Now, on this model, we remember green, brown, and red form the frontal lobe, and blue and the fried egg make up the parietal lobe. Separating my frontal lobe and parietal lobe, I have this groove, which is known as the central sulcus because it's centrally located. It's about the midway back on the brain. The central sulcus runs between two folds. The word that we use to describe a fold is gyrus. The gyrus that's in front of the central sulcus is known as the precentral gyrus. Pre means before, so precentral, before the central sulcus, there's a gyrus. The gyrus after our central sulcus is called the postcentral gyrus. Post means after. The precentral gyrus contains the primary motor cortex. This is where we send out information to the skeletal muscles of the body. The postcentral gyrus contains the primary somatosensory cortex. This is where general body senses basically send their information. So this is receiving information about touch, temperature, pain, and pressure. Our next structure that we're going to mention is the longitudinal fissure. So we're going to go back to this model. The longitudinal fissure runs down the mid-sagittal plane and divides our brain into a left cerebral hemisphere and a right cerebral hemisphere. The lateral sulcus runs along the side of the brain. So it's right here. It's going to be separating our frontal and parietal lobes from the temporal lobe below. So there's our lateral sulcus. The last structure we're going to mention is the corpus callosum. Now you can imagine here's half of a brain. If I cut the brain in half and look at the inside, I see this very large white matter structure. This is the corpus callosum. Corpus means body, callosum means tough. It's the tough body that holds the two sides of the brain together.